You cannot be a true Christian without passing through the river and without passing through the fire. You know the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Daniel chapter 3. How come they got into the fire? Because they refused to compromise. He said, if we have to burn, let's burn. But we are not bowing to any idol. And when you read Genesis chapter 22, from verse 1 to 18, Genesis 22 from verse 1 to 18, when God told Abraham to go and sacrifice his only son Isaac, he made sure that he had to travel even for 3 days before he would get to where he would do the sacrificing. Don't let anybody deceive you. Those 3 days, Abraham was passing through fire. Because God made it clear, your son Isaac, whom thou lovest. He rubbed it in. I know you love the boy. Go and sacrifice it. Sooner or later, God is going to find out. Is he number one in your life? Or do you love someone more than him? The good news is, he said, you pass through the fire, but it won't burn you. Oh, thank you, Father. I believe God is preparing you for glory. And I have my duty, because you are my children, to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I've told you the story before. Way back in 1979, December, we were going to have a program at Ijebu-Igbo during the Christmas period. And I went to Elisha to go and greet my mother, because I know I won't be able to come during Christmas period because of that assignment. I arrived at home to find that my mother was dying. Some of you say, so what is important in that? Maybe you don't know that mothers are different from mothers, and children are different from children. I was my mother's last born. I was her only son. That woman loved me like nobody else, and I loved her like nobody else. I arrived home, and the lady who opened the door said, oh, God has brought you. Somebody told you? I said to her, told me what? Mama is dying. All that night, I sat by my mother's side. But I had to leave the following morning. People are gathering at Ijebu-Igbo. I was the one who invited them to come. In those days, there were no mobile phones. We don't even have land phone in my house. I have made no arrangements at all. What am I going to do? It looks as if my mom is going to die. And I have to come, abandon her as it were, to come and attend to the work of God. I was passing through fire. I came, I told her, Mama, you know I love you. She said, I know. But I have to go. She said, I understand. Thank God that she understood. All the days I was at the program in the Jebu Igbo, there was no way I could contact home. I couldn't tell whether Mama was alive or dead. We finished the program. I had to wait to make sure that the school we used was put back in very tidy order before I could go home. I got home, I found that almost as soon as I left, my mother was healed. She lived for another 11 years. It was just a test. God wanted to know, if I have to choose between him and my mom, who will I choose? When you pass through the fire, it will not burn you. But don't let me deceive you. Don't let anyone deceive you. There will be rivers to cross. There will be fire to pass through. But at the end of it, glory. There will be problems at one time or the other with your relations. Matthew chapter 10, verse 36. Matthew 10:36 says, a man's foes will be they of his own household. Don't say that nobody told you. Sooner or later, somebody very close in your family might be used of the devil. But good news is, you will overcome. You know the story of David. 1 Samuel chapter 17. You can read it from verse 22 to 29. Thank you, Father. I think Father is speaking so often because he knows this might be a fairly tough talk. He says, I should tell someone, because the wind is blowing, your little flame will become a big fire. In 1 Samuel 17, from verse 22 to 29, when David got to the battlefront, just before God was going to introduce him to the nation of Israel, that this is the anointed one, the brother cornered him. When David was saying, what's going to be done to the one who killed this Goliath? Hey, the brother said, shut your little mouth, you arrogant brat. Is it because they anointed you above all of us? But by the time you get to 1 Samuel chapter 22 from verse 1 to 2, 1 Samuel 22 from verse 1 to 2, when David went to the cave of Adullam to hide, all his brothers came to him Any relation that wants to stand between you and your destiny will one day come to you for help. You know the story. You know 1 Samuel chapter 11, 1 Samuel 18, from verse 5 to 11. It tells you that the father-in-law was trying to kill David. At the end of the day, David still became king. But there will be family problems to deal with. And yet, there is glory ahead.